You know, everyone dreams of their wedding day that they will be living in marital bliss for the rest of their life. But reality is that nearly 1/3 of American marriages actually end in divorce. That breakup is not only emotionally draining, but legally challenging as well. So today, we want to talk about how to simplify the process. Joining us now virtually to talk about some tips is attorney Joryn Jenkins from the Open Palm Law Firm. Welcome back.
Hey there.
Thanks so much for being here. And, you know, this is something that a lot of people unfortunately have to go through. Like I said, nearly 1/3 of American marriages live or end rather in divorce. I want to ask you first, what sorts of things do couples need to know about legally before they really start that divorce process?
You know, that's such a good question. Really, the bottom line is that at some point to finalize things, you're going to have to go to a judge. But the process to get there is the thing that people need to know about. There are so many choices. And most of the time when you go to see a lawyer and say, I want a divorce, he says, fine, I'll take care of that. And then things happen and it's all legal stuff and you don't know. What you need to know is you can grab control of the process. You don't have to go to court first. You can mediate, you can chat, you can talk at the kitchen table, you can do all kinds of things. And I talk my clients through all those processes before we even start down any one road. Because once you start down one road, you may be stuck going down that road and you may be sorry that you accidentally made that choice.
Yeah, and you're taking a look at some of the courtless divorce processes here on your screen, everybody. Which one is the most common, Joryn? And then which one is the most difficult?
So probably the most common is the kitchen table divorce. Many people, because they don't have a lot of money, because they don't have any choices, because they feel they have no choices, they just sit down at the kitchen table. They look it up online. We all have Google now. We can check these things. And you find out that there's paperwork out there that you can complete. And if you do it yourself, then you can get divorced yourself. And then you just pay a filing fee, which in some cases can be $500. It can be pretty expensive, just the filing fee. But the most difficult, the most expensive is to go litigation. The Perry Mason divorce, if you will, going to court and having that knockdown, drag out fight that I talk about in my book, War or Peace. War being going to court, peace being let's just work things out ourselves and we can make this work.
And, you know, I want to show everybody the costs as well, because like you mentioned, some of these different ones can be very expensive. Let's say $200,000. Oh, my goodness. In the time we have left, about a minute, Joryn, I want to ask you this. You know, how long does a typical divorce process last? And then most of the time, does it end in a nice way? I'll put it that way.
Well, most of the time it ends in a settlement. I wouldn't necessarily call it a nice, because you can settle on the courthouse steps. And quite often people are forced into that position after spending each $100,000 just to get there. But, you know, you have these choices. And that's why I created those two posters, because I like people come to me and they have tons of questions. They don't even know what the right questions are. So I walk them through all of those possibilities, and then they know what questions to ask. And they can take those posters home with them and review them with their spouse and go over the relative costs. I mean, it may not cost the same in your state. Louisiana is a bit different from Florida, but relatively the costs are going to be about that. So if you do it yourself, you're paying a filing fee. If you go to court, you're going to spend $100,000, and so is your wife or your husband.
Ooh, some interesting information you're offering us this morning. Thank you, Joryn, for joining us this morning.
My
and look,
pleasure.
if you want more about the process of getting a divorce, log on to her website, jorynjenkins.com.